Okay, pre-recorded today. You are seeing this on Monday, the 14th day of February. So, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. You know what? I think that deserves some fireworks. The red fireworks, right? A little bit of red fireworks for Valentine's Day. Here we go. There we go. So, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Hope you're having a great Valentine's Day. So this is the 31st episode of season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero show. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. It's a reciprocal action. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative and the creator of the HERO Ministry movement, which is my effort to uplift and inspire people, primarily the unhoused community. Okay, so all that said, just a quick reminder, I am not a personal trainer, nor am I a financial advisor. So take what I say with a grain of salt, do your own due diligence, do your own research, do your own homework. And shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me the space and opportunity to be here. And this is their website, ntmedia.org. It is a nonprofit, 501c3. So if you make a donation, it is a tax-deductible donation. So check them out. If this show feeds you in any way, please like it, please comment, please share it, please make a donation, do all the fun things that are listed in the show notes beneath. Okay, so all that said, just a reminder that this is season 3, and season 3 is the doing season. The doing season is all about doing something, actually making a move. So don't just listen to me. Don't just listen to me. Make a move, take some action. And I'm also talking to myself. I'm totally talking to myself because creating this new mindset requires willpower. I'm changing my phrasing. I used to say it's simple but not easy, but I'm letting that phrasing go because I don't want to claim anything is not easy. I don't want to get in the habit of claiming something is not easy. So rephrasing, it requires willpower. Changing your mindset requires willpower. Okay, so all that said, no shout out to the heroes in the chat because this is pre-recorded, but thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. You can check out the replay on Facebook and on YouTube. If you watch on YouTube, please like and subscribe because then you'll get a notification on YouTube whenever there's a new episode that pops up. And also, you can see all of the previous episodes. So all of season 1, all of season 2, all of the previous 30 episodes of season 3, they're all available on YouTube so you can binge watch and catch up, watch the journey. Okay, all that said, let's jump into my run streak. So you're seeing this on Monday. That'll be day 259 of my run streak, which means tomorrow, Tuesday, is a milestone day. Milestone day. I count the milestone days mainly on the 10s. Not so much on the 5s, but mainly on the 10s. So over the weekend, I worked out, ran with the Fleet Feet half and full marathon training group. And do I have a story? Yeah, first of all, it's a really big group of people. My barber asked me how big is the group, and I said that, yeah, it's a really big group of people. I'm guessing like maybe 60 people. It's a massive group. And we assembled in North Nashville, and we ran out to Charlotte and down Charlotte, and we discovered this hidden park. And I must have driven past where this park begins a million times and never noticed it. But there's this pathway that leads into the woods, and there's lakes and streams and trees and bridges, and it was lovely back there. And we did a loop back there and came back out, and all of that took us about 5 miles. So very cool. It's also really good to know about that run route for future reference. So that was dope. And it was fun hanging out with the Fleet Feet people, the other people who are training for a half marathon and or training for a full marathon. Big group of folks, everybody's doing different things, and we have different pacers to keep us on our pace for the race that we want to run. So I stuck with the 2:15 pace this time, which is to say that my goal for the half marathon is 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I ran with the 2 hour, 15 minute group, and that's the pace for that group. But it's not the race pace. This is getting a little technical, so I hope this is of interest to someone. But basically, you run at different paces. You run slower than your race pace, you run faster than your race pace, so that on the day of, your race pace feels like nothing. So that's the psychology of it. And Saturday was a slow day, and it was actually hard to run slow because now I've gotten used to moving a little bit faster than the pace was that we set for Saturday. So I had to keep pulling myself back and keep an eye on Antoine, who was the pacer, pulling myself back. And a lot of people in our group weren't able to do it. They just ended up running ahead because they couldn't keep themselves slow. So really interesting how once the body gets worked up, it's harder to run slow. All right, so that was a huge tangent, but I hope it was interesting for some folks out there, this whole journey of running that I'm on. So that said, next thing about running is the charity run. So I shared it with the Fleet Feet group on Saturday, and as of the recording of this show, we're up to 62%. So 62% of the way to our goal, creeping on up. Hopefully by the time you see this, we'll be even further than that. Hopefully by the time you see this, we'll be done. But if not, please share it. Please share it. Please share it. If you see me posting it on social media, please share it and spread the word so that other people can find out about it and donate, so that we can help Mr. Charles get back on his feet. Okay. All that said, let's do the envelope challenge. So I've got my trusty die here. So we're going to roll the dice. Oh, I can see it. 3. The number's 3 for Monday. So that's interesting. I haven't had the number in advance before. So I'm just writing it down. $3 Monday. So that's your number for Monday. You want to transfer $3 from your checking into your savings bucket. And that bucket is being used for investment at whatever point that you determine. Like whatever dollar amount you determine, get up to that dollar amount and then invest it. So that's what we're doing with the envelope challenge. Okay, so that said, let's move on. Let's get into the morning's in. So this is morning's in advance, obviously, because whatever my morning reading is for Monday, I haven't done yet. But my reading from today comes from the 4 Agreements. I'm still reading that book, and I've talked now about 3 of the agreements. So let's talk quickly about the 4th. So the 4 Agreements, just to recap, is a very brief book, but very impactful. And each of these agreements seem really simple, but they require willpower. I caught myself. They require willpower. And shout out to Linda, because Linda actually put this in the chat on Friday. She said these agreements seem simple, but they're not so easy. But we're changing that language to they require willpower. They definitely require willpower. So just to recap the agreements thus far, the first one is be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. And this primarily relates to you being impeccable with your word to yourself. Keep your promises to yourself and speak to yourself in high esteem. Be impeccable with your word to yourself. Second one, take nothing personally. Take nothing personally. This requires a significant amount of willpower to take nothing personally. Just remind yourself that whatever someone is saying or doing to you is about who they are and about how they're interacting with the world. It's got nothing to do with you. And follow up to that, the book talks about this idea of that person who's saying something negative to you is trying to give you poison. And I think that's a effective way to visualize it. If you visualize someone trying to hand you poison, you're not going to take it, right? You're not going to take the poison that someone's handing out to you. So think about it that way. That's what I've been experimenting with this weekend. Visualizing them physically trying to hand me poison and me refusing the poison. So the idea expressed in the book is once someone expresses poison to you by saying something mean or doing something that provokes you, they are offering you poison. And if you accept the poison becomes yours and it poisons you. It doesn't hurt the other person anymore. It poisons you. So don't accept the poison. Take nothing personally. Okay. Next one. Don't make assumptions. Once again, don't make assumptions. Simple. Sounds really simple, but requires massive amounts of willpower. Requires massive amounts of willpower. I don't know why I can't say amounts today, but it requires massive amounts of willpower to not make assumptions because we do it automatically. Automatically. Something happens and we automatically decide what that something that happened means. We automatically decide. So the way around this is to ask clarifying questions. Make a habit of asking clarifying questions without any emotion, just gathering more information. And this may seem awkward at first. I know because I've been trying it and it's a little awkward. But ask clarifying questions to get a better understanding of what's going on before you jump to any conclusions. Do not make any assumptions. Okay, and the fourth of the 4 agreements is do your best. Just do your best. Do your best. And in the context of the book, it talks about how your best is going to vary. Like you might be at 100% on Monday, you might be at 60% on Tuesday, you might be at 75% on Wednesday. But do your best. Work to the best of your ability on any given day at any given moment. And I want to share a quote with you that stood out to me. You tell me if it resonates with you. So this is from the 4th of the 4 agreements. If you try too hard to do more than your best, if you try too hard to do more than your best, you will spend more energy than is needed. And in the end, your best will not be enough. When you overdo, you deplete your body and go against yourself, and it will take you longer to accomplish your goal. So I highlighted that, and it stood out to me because of the idea of overdoing. Because often when we're trying to get there, trying to make something happen, it gets translated as hustle. Just hustle hard, move faster, do the same thing, do more of the same thing. But to the point of this chapter, don't overdo it. And to me, that means take a beat to think about how to move. Don't just rush to move. Take a beat to think about how to move, how to best move effectively. So that's at least my interpretation of that part of doing your best. So anyway, 4 agreements. I might stick with it for a minute, even though I just talked about the 4th agreement. It's an impactful book and lots of great lessons. Check it out if you haven't already. Okay, moving on. I was trying to decide if I was going to talk about the 50th law of power. I actually listened to the 50th law of power while I was running my 5 miles on Saturday. But I think I want to save that for another day. It's an interesting book. 50 had a lot of really challenging experiences before his meteoric rise to fame. And the book talks about how he was able to overcome those. So that's it for now. Moving on, let's talk about abundance. Let's talk about abundance, shall we? So let's do our affirmation, which is, no drum roll. Here we go. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. And my reminder, right after that, right after affirming that you are happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire, remember, if you only spend, you'll stay poor. If you only save, you'll stay middle class. But if you invest, then you'll become wealthy. If you want to become wealthy, the only way to do that is to invest. It's not optional. So I changed the phrasing there because if you invest, you don't necessarily become wealthy automatically, but investing is the path to wealth. If you do it actively and do it in the right way, investing is the path to wealth. Okay, so today is Monday. It's Money Monday, as someone else called it. A couple of you called it Money Monday. And this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about worlds within worlds. So on Friday, I hope you saw Friday's show, but I was responding to a question from Robin about how to get started in stock if you've never bought stock before. And I talked about what I would do differently if I had to do it all over again. And I want to piggyback on that idea and then take a pivot. So what I would do if I had to do it all over again is I would spend less time trying to learn everything before I got started and just get started. Just get started, because the fails and the stumbles and the missteps are what help you learn faster. And I spent a lot of time sitting on the sidelines trying to study how to move. Start moving and study at the same time. That's what I would do if I had to do it all over again. I would start moving faster and study at the same time. Just knowing that I'm going to make some mistakes. I'm going to step on some landmines. I'm going to fall into the bushes. Just know that in advance and be studying at the same time, so that as soon as I fall in the bushes, I study on why I fell into the bushes so I can move forward faster. So that's the main thing that I didn't say Friday that kind of occurred to me over the weekend. And I want to also ping something else I said on Friday. I said that in order to get a brokerage account started, I would use someone's link, like their link to start a Webull account. I'm saying we, W-E, Bull, B-U-L-L. Use their link to start a Webull account, or use their link to start a Robinhood account. And what I want to add to that is I would shop around, because what I've noticed now that I'm in both of those apps, I've noticed that all the links aren't the same. Some links offer more stock than other links, and some links offer seemingly a better quality of stock than other links. So I would shop around. So that being said, if I was to do it all over again, I would start asking people, hey, are you in the stock market? Are you on Webull? Are you on Robinhood? Send me your link. And that's how I would get in fast and easy, like by using their link and getting free stock, so that I'm not funding my brokerage account with only my money. I'm funding it also with theirs. So that has been tremendously helpful for me at this late date. I've done it with Webull. I've shared my link with you guys. And I had been seeing this link for months, but ignoring it because I thought it was some kind of scam. And so I had to get past my own mindset block. And once I used it, I was shocked at how easy it was to get multiple shares of stock. And then once you're playing with house money, that gives you a little more elbow room, because psychologically, nothing feels like a loss. Which leads me into the worlds within worlds. So we've talked about stock. We've talked about Shaq. We've talked about how currently Shaq makes more money from his investment portfolio than he made at his highest point during his career, right? Which was $27 million, just to put real numbers on it. So we know about the idea of buying and holding stock, which is essentially what Shaq seems to be doing. I say seems to because I don't know for sure, but he seems to be accumulating stock, letting it appreciate in value, and that becomes his net worth. And probably he's reinvesting the dividends and just letting it be his net worth, or having the dividends come out to him as his pay. Again, I'm just guessing, I'm speculating based on the numbers that I found. But here's the other thing, and I've been talking about this a little bit, but just to put a fine point on it, the other way to interact with stock is trading, and it's much different than buying and holding. And I talked about this recently, but there's these two schools of thought about trading. Let's just say two schools of thought about stock. One is valuation, and the other is technical analysis. So valuation is what basically we've been doing. We're looking at the stock, we're checking the ex-dividend date, we're checking the dividend yield, we're looking at how big the company is. Like, we're looking to see if this is a company I want to invest in. Those of you that are investing in individual stocks, those are the kinds of questions I'm sure have come up, right? Trying to pick the right one. But on the other side, and I know I've talked about this before, but I just want to really drive it home. On the other side, the technical analysis people don't care at all what the stocks are. And I mentioned Nicholas Darvis on Friday. Nicholas Darvis, for those of you just joining us, was a famous ballroom dancer in his day. Super famous, traveled the world, was making lots of money as a ballroom dancer, fell into the stock market accidentally, ended up being able to make $2 million in less than a year, and wrote a book about the fact that he made $2 million in less than a year, which I've read. And it really didn't hit me until recently that the way he was making his money was not the way Shaq seems to be making his money. He's not buying and holding the stock and letting it appreciate in value. He made his $2 million by buying and selling and buying again. He traded. He was a stock trader. That's how he got to that dollar amount of $2 million. And he didn't care at all about what the companies were. It's not like he said, hey, I'm gonna look into Coca-Cola and make sure I get that one and trade that stock. No, most of the time he was traveling internationally and he would get these telegrams. That's how long ago this was. He'd get telegrams telling him what the stock tickers were and what they were doing, what their recent numbers were. And he taught himself how to read these numbers. And what jumped out at him was how the stock was moving, no matter what the stock was. He didn't even care what the stock was. He would just look to see how it was moving. If it was moving the way he wanted it to, he would acquire that stock and then set it up in such a way that it would sell at a certain amount and buy at a certain amount. And that's how he traded his way to $2 million in less than a year. $2 million in less than a year by trading stocks. And this takes me all the way back to another person I mentioned a long time ago. His name is Truth. He calls himself Truth. He was 14 years old at the time. I think he's still 14. And he is a multi-millionaire, I believe. And he became a stock trader at something like 12 or something. But at the time, I didn't really pay attention to the fact that he was trading. I knew that he was in the market, but that didn't really click for me. But he too is trading. And in his case, he's trading options, which we're not going to get into, but is another financial instrument which you can trade. Here's the very interesting thing. Here is the super interesting thing. Imagine being able to learn one language, and then after learning that one language, being able to speak to someone who spoke Japanese, but also being able to speak to someone who spoke only Chinese, but also being able to speak to someone who spoke only German, and also being able to speak to someone who spoke only Farsi, and also being able to speak to someone who only spoke Wolof. 5 different languages. By learning one language, you're able to communicate with people who speak those 5 different languages. That would be a magical thing, right? A magical thing. Guess what, though? The thing is, it exists in this financial space. Technical analysis, the ability to read charts, applies across the board because each financial instrument, each security, uses a chart to mark its progress. So that's to say, if you knew technical analysis, you could read the charts for stock market. You could read the chart for cryptocurrency. You could read the chart for options. You could read the chart for all these various financial instruments, for Forex, which is the currencies of other countries. Like, they all use a chart. And so once you learn how to use the chart, you know how to read all of it. That is so huge to me. That's huge. So basically, you learn one thing and you have learned the language of money across these various barriers. That's incredible. So I will definitely be going down that rabbit hole quite a bit, and I'll be talking about it. I've already mentioned candlesticks. And so I'll just end by reminding you that candlesticks is just one method of reading those charts. So there's lots of different methods. But if you're anything like me, when you look at a chart that looks something like, let me find it again, something like this, you're confused. There's too much going on, right? But if you're only looking at one thing, 1 or 2 things on that chart, it gets more clear. If you're only looking for this, and you know how to read this, you know what each of these candles represents, it becomes easier to read the whole. And if you can read the whole for one financial instrument, you can read the chart for all the financial instruments that use a chart. What? So mind-boggling stuff. It's fascinating to me that we've discovered this world within a world. There's stocks, obviously, and there's valuation of stocks, like buying and holding stock, like Warren Buffett, let's say, right? Buying, holding for the long term works really well. The market rewards patience. And generally speaking, the market goes up about 10% every year, as long as you're putting your money in the right place. And if you're putting your money in the real right places, it will go up even more. So it'll go up. If you get some stock and it's a good stock, hold on to it. If it's a quote unquote bad stock, maybe you want to, no, I'm not giving advice. I'm not giving advice. In my case, some of the stocks that I picked, I haven't been happy about how they did. And then I closed that position and bought back into something that's more tried and true, like the S&P 500. But I just want to finish this point. That's a whole world. But there's this other whole world of stock trading where people are learning to read the chart, and the chart allows them to make dispassionate decisions about when to buy and when to sell, no matter what the company is, no matter what the financial instrument is, and lead a life of trading stocks. Fascinating. It's a universal language. Okay, so I'm going to stop there because I don't want to repeat myself. I'm just really fascinated by that idea of learning one language that helps you understand all the financial languages. So I'll be talking about it coming up. So, all right, what's coming up next? Next is prayer time at 10:15, and then sit with Rev Melissa. Today, we're doing a special edition of Sit with Rev Melissa. Today, February 14th, Valentine's Day. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, keep doing. Be a hero. Be your own financial hero. Remember that now is better than perfect in terms of investing. Don't wait till tomorrow. Invest today. And I will see you mañana. Later.